Alright, let's get into it, because fellas, I know some of y'all are out here struggling, trying to figure out if she's interested or just being polite. And let me tell you, women are masters of subtlety. They ain't always gonna come right out and say, "Hey, I like you." No, no, no. That's too easy. Instead, they drop little clues, tiny signals that you gotta be sharp enough to pick up on. It's like a secret language, and if you don't know how to read it, you might be out here fumbling the bag without even realizing it. See, attraction isn't always about words. Sometimes it's about the way she moves, how she shifts her weight, how she touches her neck when she talks to you, how she tilts her head just enough to give you that look. These aren't just random habits, they're instincts. Built-in signals that happen without her even thinking about it. And if you can recognize them, oh my friend, you'll never be confused again. So today we're breaking it all down. We're talking about the subtle, unspoken cues that let you know when a woman is genuinely interested. No guessing, no overthinking. Let's get to it. The language of movement. What her hips are saying. You've seen it before. Maybe it was across the room at a party, or while you were waiting in line at your favorite coffee shop. She wasn't speaking, wasn't even looking in your direction, but something about her presence pulled you in. It wasn't just the way she stood, it was the way she moved, subtle yet undeniable, like the quiet rhythm of a song you didn't even realize was playing. That gentle sway of the hips, the shift of weight from one foot to the other, the almost imperceptible adjustment of posture. Each of these movements tells a story, and if you know how to read it, you'll never miss a cue again. A woman's hips are an unspoken language of attraction, a primal signal that predates words, stretching back to a time when survival depended on reading body language with razor-sharp precision. The slow, rhythmic sway isn't just a random movement. It's an instinctive mechanism linked to femininity, fertility, and subconscious allure. She may not even be aware of it, but her body is. The slight curve of her lower back, the way her torso aligns, the relaxed poise. It's an open invitation, though often coded in subtlety. And here's where most men go wrong. They overlook it. They focus too much on words, looking for some overt, undeniable proof of interest, when the truth is far quieter, far more instinctive. If she starts shifting her weight as soon as you walk into the room, if her posture subtly adjusts, if there's a slow, effortless rhythm to the way she stands, you've already made an impression. This isn't accidental. It's nature at work, a silent but compelling form of communication. But before you get ahead of yourself, understand that context matters. Just because she moves doesn't mean she's moving for you. Awareness is key. Is she engaged in conversation but adjusting her stance slightly in your direction? Does she maintain that rhythm even after locking eyes? If so, the answer is clear. She's tuned in, consciously or not. But if she's doing it in every direction, it's just her natural presence in motion. And that's where discernment separates the observant from the overzealous. Now, here's the lesson. Attraction isn't about chasing, it's about recognizing. The men who struggle in dating are the ones trying to force signals that aren't there. They misinterpret neutrality as interest and mistake politeness for pursuit. The men who succeed, however, are those who understand the power of observation. They pick up on the slight shifts, the subconscious cues, and they respond accordingly, not with desperation, but with confidence. If you want to understand women, start by understanding movement. Stop relying solely on words and start watching what's happening right in front of you. The most powerful signals aren't always spoken, they're felt, and once you master the ability to read them, you'll realize the conversation started long before a single word was ever exchanged. The silent language of attraction. Fellas, listen up. Women don't always tell you how they feel with words. They communicate in a language older than speech itself, body language. And one of the most powerful yet subtle signs of attraction, self-thoughting. You've seen it before, but maybe you didn't realize what it meant. The way she absent-mindedly runs her fingers along her collarbone, the soft touch on her wrist, the delicate way she adjusts her bracelet, none of it is random. It's a subconscious invitation, a silent whisper saying, "Pay attention." Let's break this down. When a woman touches her own skin, especially in soft, vulnerable areas like her neck, arm, or collarbone, she's doing two things at once. First, it's a self-soothing gesture. It happens when she's excited, a little nervous, or caught up in the moment. But second, and this is where it gets interesting, it's a way to direct your focus. She's highlighting the areas of her body that are naturally associated with femininity, delicacy, and sensuality. This is a deeply ingrained subconscious behavior, something women do without even realizing why. Now, don't get it twisted. Just because she's brushing her fingers along her collarbone doesn't mean she's ready to run off into the sunset with you, but it does mean she's engaged, present in the moment, and possibly interested, especially if it's paired with other signals. Prolonged eye contact, a playful smile, or a slight tilt of her head. That's when you know you've got her attention. Picture this. You're sitting across from a woman at dinner. You crack a joke, she laughs, and as she does, her hand drifts to her neck. Her fingers lightly trace the curve of her collarbone before tucking a loose strand of hair behind her ear. That's not just a random movement. That's her body reacting to you, to the energy between you. She's unconsciously inviting you to notice her, to lean in a little closer, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally. Or maybe you're standing at a bar, talking to a woman who keeps adjusting the sleeve of her blouse, playing with the thin bracelet on her wrist. Her movements are slow, deliberate, each small gesture drawing your eyes to her hands, her skin, the places where touch feels the most electric. That's a cue, a green light, a sign that says, "I'm aware of you and I want you to be aware of me." So what do you do with this information? Simple. Pay attention. Don't just listen to what she says, watch what she does. If she's showing these signs, lean into the moment. Hold eye contact a little longer. Keep the conversation flowing. Make her laugh again. Let the energy build naturally, because attraction isn't just about what you say. It's about the space you create between you, the way you read and respond to the silent cues she's giving you. Women aren't complicated, fellas. They just speak a different language, a language of subtlety, of small, quiet gestures that say everything without a single word. And if you learn to read those signs, if you learn to understand the way she moves, you'll never be confused again. The silent signals of attraction, understanding a woman's subtle cues. A woman's interest is rarely spoken outright. It's in the way she moves, the pauses between her words, the glances she steals when she thinks you're not looking. Men often miss these silent signals, brushing them off as coincidence or misreading them altogether. But understanding these subtle cues is the key to knowing when she's drawn to you, even if she hasn't said a single word. Take the classic head tilt. When a woman tilts her head while engaging in conversation, she's doing more than just reacting to your words. she's exposing the side of her neck, a subconscious display of trust and vulnerability. This is her body's way of saying she's comfortable, that she's open to you. If she pairs it with a smile and prolonged eye contact, you're not just having a casual chat, you've got her attention in a way most men don't. Then there's the matter of quick, fleeting glances. Women are naturally more observant than men, constantly assessing their surroundings, but when she starts letting her gaze wander over you, your chest, your hands, your shoulders, it's not by accident. These are instinctive assessments of strength and capability, traits deeply embedded in attraction psychology. If she's sneaking peeks at your hands, she might be wondering what it would feel like to be touched by them. If she's eyeing your shoulders, she's likely noticing your frame, an evolutionary signal of protection and security. The key here is the timing. These glances happen when she believes you won't notice, micro-expressions of attraction slipping through her carefully composed demeanor. Now, here's where most men go wrong. They overanalyze or completely ignore these signs. A man who overanalyzes, hesitates, second-guesses, and ultimately misses his moment. A man who ignores them dismisses opportunities he doesn't even realize he has. But the man who understands, he knows when to engage, when to lean in just enough to let the energy between them build, when to test the waters by mirroring her body language. Attraction is a dance, and she's already given you the first step, your move. But let's be clear, none of this works if your presence isn't already commanding respect and interest. A man with weak confidence will see a woman tilting her head, but he'll convince himself it's nothing. A man with purpose and self-assuredness will recognize it for what it is and respond accordingly. That's the difference. Women don't just respond to words, they respond to energy, to presence. Your posture, the way you carry yourself, the steadiness in your voice, all of these factors determine whether those subtle signals she's sending will lead anywhere. So the next time you catch a woman giving you those silent cues, don't dismiss them. Pay attention, but don't stare. Engage, but don't force. Confidence isn't about making a move. It's about recognizing when the move has already been made for you and stepping into it effortlessly. The silent language of attraction, how women reveal their interest without saying a word. Most men think women speak in riddles, playing an elaborate game of mixed signals and coded messages. But the truth? Women communicate interest in ways so subtle, so instinctive, that even they may not realize what they're doing. The key isn't in what she says, it's in what she does when she's around you. If you know what to look for, you'll see that attraction isn't as complicated as it seems. It's a silent language written in body movements, breath patterns, and proximity. A woman who's interested in you won't need to announce it. Instead, she'll lean in when you speak, as if drawn closer by an invisible thread. It won't be abrupt, no sudden shifts that scream desperation, but a natural, effortless move that gradually shrinks the space between you. She might rest an arm on the table a little closer to yours, subtly inviting more connection. And if she angles her shoulder in your direction, it's not just about positioning. It's about closing the gap, reducing the physical distance that separates her from what she finds intriguing. Then there's the breath. Something so involuntary, so deeply tied to the body's internal rhythms that it betrays emotions before the mind can. When a woman is attracted, her breathing changes. It becomes deeper, slower, as if unconsciously trying to regulate an elevated heart rate. You might notice the gentle rise and fall of her shoulders, a subtle sign that her body is reacting to your presence. This isn't conscious, it's instinct, a physiological response to attraction, a whisper from her body that says, "Pay attention to this man." These cues don't exist in isolation. They work together, layering over each other like an unspoken confession. But here's where most men go wrong. They doubt what they see. They ignore the signs, overthink them, or worse, assume every woman who leans in slightly is madly in love. Attraction isn't about one isolated movement. It's about consistency. Does she keep finding reasons to be near you? Does she lean in even when there's plenty of space? Do her breaths slow when the conversation gets deeper? If you see these signs aligning, she's not just being polite, she's intrigued. Now, here's the crucial lesson. Recognizing these signals is only half the equation. What you do next determines whether attraction builds or fizzles out. Confidence, not arrogance, is your best response. Hold the eye contact, maintain your own relaxed posture, and reciprocate in kind. The key isn't to chase, but to match the energy she's giving you. Attraction isn't forced, it's cultivated. And if you read her silent language right, you'll always know when it's time to move forward. The hidden signals. What her body language reveals about attraction. Men spend years trying to decode what women say, searching for hidden meanings in words, texts, and conversations. But the truth is, the most honest part of a woman is what she doesn't say at all. It's the way she moves, the way she positions herself when you're around, the subtle cues her body gives away before her mind has a chance to filter them. And if you pay attention, you'll realize that her feet, yes, her feet, might just be the most revealing part of all. You've been there before. You're in a crowded room, maybe a party, maybe a coffee shop, and there's a woman whose presence you can feel even before you make eye contact. She's laughing with friends, nodding along to a conversation, but something in the air tells you she's aware of you. Now, you might be looking at her eyes, scanning for that lingering glance, or watching for a smile. But the real test is simpler. Check her feet. Where are they pointing? A woman's feet will always tell you where her true interest lies. If her feet are turned toward you, even while she's talking to someone else, that's a subconscious sign that you have her attention. She may not even realize it herself, but her body is giving away what her mind hasn't yet fully processed. It's instinctual, primal, a natural alignment toward what she finds engaging or attractive. Now, let's take it a step further. If her feet aren't just facing you but are slightly open, angled in a way that invites movement in your direction, that's an even stronger cue. It's a silent invitation, an unspoken way of saying, "I'm open to interaction." If she crosses her legs away from you or turns her feet toward the nearest exit, she's mentally checking out before she even physically leaves. This is where most men go wrong. They're too focused on what a woman says instead of what she does. They think attraction is all about the words exchanged, the obvious signals. But a woman's body, especially her lower body, tells the real story. And here's the kicker. These are signals she can't fake. She might force a smile, she might even entertain small talk, but her body will always betray her true feelings. It's not about being a mind reader, it's about being an observer. So what does this mean for you? It means you don't have to second guess or overthink. If you notice her feet angled toward you, take it as a green light to engage. If she leans in slightly when she speaks, mirroring your energy, congratulations, you've got her attention. On the other hand, if her feet are consistently pointed away, if her body remains closed off, stop trying to force a connection that isn't there. Walk away with your confidence intact. Because attraction should be effortless, not a puzzle you have to solve. Understanding a woman's subconscious body language is a game changer. It saves you time, prevents unnecessary overtalk, and keeps you from chasing dead ends. More importantly, it allows you to recognize when the interest is mutual, so you can focus your energy on connections that are worth your effort. So, the next time you're in a room with a woman who catches your eye, don't just listen to what she says. Watch her. Pay attention to where she stands, how she angles herself, and most importantly, where her feet are pointing. Because long before she makes a move, long before she says the words, her body will already have told you everything you need to know. Fellas, listen, women ain't just gonna walk up and tell you, "Hey, I'm interested." That's not how the game works. Attraction, it's in the details. It's in the way she moves, the way she plays with her bracelet, the way she tilts her head when you talk. It's in those little glances she thinks you don't notice. And let me tell you something, when a woman wants you to see it, she'll make sure you do. But here's the deal. Don't get caught up overanalyzing every move like you're solving a crime scene. Read the signs, but be cool about it. Confidence, not desperation. Interest, not assumption. Because the biggest mistake you can make, thinking every smile is a marriage proposal. So pay attention, stay smooth, and if you see those signals lining up, well, my brother, you might just be in the right place at the right time. Just don't mess it